Altitude 1800 feet. Transition level 190. Arriving and departing runways 25 left, 25 right. Advise on initial contact you have information Tango. Tan Sun N8.
Bamboo 148, radio check.
Bamboo 148, Tan Sun Nhat clearance, you're coming in loud and clear.
Bamboo 148 with information Tango, request IFR clearance to Da Nang.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
Clearance delivery. Good afternoon, this is Cathay 766 at the gate requesting IFR clearance to Hong Kong International as filed, and I have information. Tango.
Bamboo 148, information Tango is current. Clear to Da Nang via the Answer 2 Foxtrot departure, then as filed, departure runway 25 left, initial climb to 4000, departure on 126.35, squawk 6571.
Clear to Da Nang via the ANTR to Foxtrot departure, then as by departure runway 25 left, initial climb to 4000, departure on 126.35, squawk 6571, Bamboo 148.
1 second while I grab the paperwork. Bamboo 148, read back, correct. Contact ground on 121.6 when ready.
121.6, Bamboo 148.
Boarding requested.
Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome aboard Bamboo Airways Flight 148, departing from Ho Chi Minh City and heading to Da Nang. We kindly ask you to take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you.
Good evening.
If you need any assistance,
Vietnam
please don't hesitate to
648
contact
with
our friendly crew
information
members
India.
who are here to help you.
We're an Airbus
Thank you for choosing Bamboo
321.
Airways, and we hope you have a
We
pleasant
request
flight.
IFR clearance to Manila as filed, please. Clearance on request. Stand by.
Push and start approved facing west. Transworld 178 Heavy.
Tanzania ground, good evening. Singapore 749 Heavy. Information Sierra Gate 16. Request IFR clearance to Hanoi, Noi Bai.
1 second while I grab the paperwork.
All aircraft, information Quebec is now current. QNH 1009er.
Ground Cathay 1518 ready to taxi.
Passengers boarding starting.
Sun Nhat ground, Squidder 305.
All aircraft be advised, information X-ray is now current. QNH 1009er.
Welcome on board. Good evening. Hello. Welcome on board. Boarding pass, please. Hello. Good evening. This way.
Jet 160 request pushback.
Tansun at ground, scooter 305, request push and start. Facing east, scooter 305.
Hello? Boarding pass, please. Hello? Boarding pass, please. Good evening. Welcome on board. Good evening. This way. Hello. Good evening.
Vietjet 160 ready to taxi.
Boarding pass, please. Good evening. Boarding pass, please. Hello. Welcome on board.
We're ready to go when you are. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to welcome
This way,
you aboard
please.
our flight. When you find your seat, please be sure to place your larger carry-on items in the overhead bin and smaller
This
items
way.
underneath the seat in front of you. Unless you're in a front row, please place all of your items in the overhead bin. If you have any trouble finding a location for your carry-on items, please let a flight attendant know.
May I see your boarding pass?
If the overhead bin is full, please make sure you close it as a courtesy to other passengers. Please double check that all your items are put away
Boarding
so that
pass,
the
please.
aisle is clear and other passengers can make their way to their seats. If you're in an emergency exit row, please
Hello.
leave exit seating responsibilities in the card in the seat back in front of you. If you're not
This
able
way.
to comply with these actions, please let a flight attendant know so that way you can be released. You are free to use your portable electronic devices during the boarding process. We ask that larger electronic devices are stowed once you depart from the gate. Thank you and welcome
Hello.
aboard.
Hello. Good evening. Welcome on board. May I see your boarding pass? Hello. This way. Welcome on board.
Cabin is ready for departure. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome aboard Bamboo Airways Flight 148, departing from Ho Chi Minh City and heading to Da Nang. We are currently pushing back from the gate and will be in the air shortly.
Bamboo 148 ready for push and start.
I would like to introduce our captain, Viet Vong Vey, and our first officer, Can
Good
Tran.
evening, ladies and gentlemen,
Joining
and
us in the
welcome
cabin
aboard
today
Flight
are our wonderful
148.
crew members,
Our flight
Lin,
time will be
Min,
roughly
Hoa,
1
and
hour
Tuan.
and
We
5
expect our
minutes.
flight time to
Please
be
note the
approximately
cabin doors
1
now
hour and
closed.
5
We
minutes.
ask that you make sure that all
Bamboo
devices are in
148
airplane
ready
mode
for
and your
push
larger
and
devices
start.
are now shut down and stowed.
First,
If you
please
have not
ensure that
already,
your
please
seatbelt is
fasten your
fastened low
seatbelt
and tight
verify
across
it
your
is
lap.
low and tight across
To
your lap.
unfasten, simply lift the buckle. In the event of a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen masks will drop down from the panel above you. Pull the mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen, place it over your nose and mouth, and secure it with the elastic band. Remember to put your own mask on before assisting others. For our overwater flights, life vests are located.
Bamboo 148 ready for push and start.
Place it over your head and pull the straps around your waist. Inflate the vest by pulling the red tabs or by blowing into the tubes. As for emergency
Ground
exits, there are two
VH645,
exits at the
taxi to
front,
the gate.
2 over the wings, and 2 at the rear of the aircraft. Please take a moment to locate the nearest exit, which
Say again, please.
in an emergency, follow the illuminated path to the exits. We appreciate your attention to this important safety briefing. Once we reach cruising altitude, we will be offering items from the Bamboo Airways shop. Thank you for your cooperation, and we hope you...
Bamboo 148 ready for push and start. Bamboo 148 ready for push and start. Bamboo 148 ready for push and start.
The cabin is ready for departure, Captain. Hey folks, welcome to our ride to Da Nang. This is Bamboo Airways Flight 148, and we're thrilled to have you with us today.
Bamboo 148 ready for push. Ready to copy IFR clearance to Ho Chi Minh with information tango.
Is Can Tran. Now, let's go over some important safety information.
Clearance on request.
First,
Stand by.
please ensure your seatbelts are fastened low and tight across your lap.
Clearance delivery.
To unbuckle, simply lift the buckle. In the unlikely event of a loss of
1
cabin
86,
pressure,
ready for
oxygen
IFR.
masks will drop down from the panel above
I'll
you.
grab that clearance. Give
Pull
me
the
just
mask
a minute.
towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Place it over your nose and mouth,
Hands on
and
that
secure it
clearance
with the
information
elastic
uniform is
band.
current. Cleared to Da Nang via
Remember
the
to
answer
put on
2
your own
Foxtrot
mask
departure.
before
Then is
assisting
filed.
others.
Departure runway 25
If you
left.
need to
Initial climb to
evacuate, there are
4000.
no emergency
Departure on
exits on the
126
small
decimal 35
aircraft,
squawk
so please
3651.
remain calm and follow my instructions. For your comfort,
Click to
please
Hong
ensure
Kong
your
via the
seatbelt.
AMRA 1 crew.
Bamboo 148 with information Tango request IFR clearance to Da Nang.
Clearance on request. Stand by.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard
on
Bamboo
Nhat,
Airways
clearance,
Flight
Transworld
148,
178 Heavy,
departing
Type
from the vibrant city
747,
of Ho Chi Minh
Gate
and
76 with
soaring towards
information
the beautiful
Oscar.
Da Nang.
Ready to copy
I am your
IFR to
lead
Hanoi.
flight attendant, Madame Piaf, and it is my pleasure to
Bamboo
introduce our
148,
esteemed
information
captain,
Tango is current.
Viet
Clear to
Phong
Da Nang
Ve,
via the
and our
answer 2
first
Foxtrot
officer,
departure, then
Nhat.
as filed. Departure
Joining
runway
me in the
25
cabin
left.
are my
Initial
wonderful
climb to
colleagues,
4000.
Lin,
Departure on
Min, and Hoa.
126.35.
Our
Squawk
estimated flight time
4525.
today is just over 1 hour.
Clear to Da Nang via the ANTR to Foxtrot departure and as by departure runway 25 left, initial climb to 4000, departure on 126.35, squawk 4525, Bamboo 148.
In the event of a sudden
I'll
loss
grab
of
that
cabin
clearance.
pressure,
Give me just a minute.
oxygen masks will drop down from above.
Bamboo
Pull
148,
the
read
mask
that correct.
towards
Ground
you,
is on
place it over your
121.68 flight,
nose
sir.
and mouth, and breathe normally,
121.6, Bamboo 148, good day, bye-bye.
assisting others. For our water-loving passengers, life vests are
Bamboo 148, ready for push and start.
slip it over your head and pull the straps to tighten. Inflate the vest by pulling the red tabs or by blowing into the tubes. Emergency exits are located at the front, over the wings, and at the rear of the aircraft. Please take a moment to locate the exit nearest to you, keeping in mind that it may be behind you.
Tanzania ground, good evening, Singapore 7499.
Bamboo 148, ready for push and start.
I kindly
1
ask
second
you
while
to
I
ensure
grab the
your seat
paperwork.
backs and tray tables are in their upright positions, and all personal items are stowed away. After we reach cruising altitude, I will come around with delightful articles from the Bamboo Airways shop. Thank you for your attention, and let's have a wonderful flight together. Boarding has started, Captain, and the first passengers are aboard the plane.
All aircraft
Ladies and
information
gentlemen,
Quebec is now
welcome
current.
aboard Bamboo
QNH
Airways Flight
1010.
148. Departing from the lovely
Cancel
Tan Son
Nhat
Nhat
ground.
to the enchanting Da
Transworld
Nang.
178
Please
Heavy
take your
at
seats
Gate
according to
76.
your boarding,
Bamboo 148, ready for push and start.
or under the seats in front of you.
Push and start approved,
If you need
facing
any
west,
assistance,
Transworld
do not
178 Heavy.
hesitate to call upon our wonderful crew, Lin, Min, and Hoa. We are here to ensure your journey is as delightful as a sweet
Tanzania
chanson.
ground, Korean Air
Thank you for flying
8761.
with us.
I have Echo, I'm ready to taxi.
Tanzania ground, Scooter 305.
All aircraft be advised, information X-ray is now current. QNH 1009er. All aircraft information Quebec is now current. QNH 1009er.
Ground, Cafe 1518, ready to taxi.
Bamboo 148, ready for push and start. Push and start through facing north, Bamboo 148. Flight deck to ground.
I don't understand your request. Could you please clarify?
Flight deck to ground, please connect the tug at gate 7.
Ground to cockpit, roger. Tug is on its way.
Flight deck to ground, please connect the tug at gate 17. Before start checklist, packing rack set, seatbelt pin and transfer
Ground to
1.
cockpit, bypass pin inserted. Just let me know when you're ready to start the pushback.
9, left time 67 degrees Celsius, windows closed, beacons on before start checklist complete. Flight deck to ground, we are ready for push and start.
Ground to cockpit. All right, please release the parking brake, starting pushback.
Flight deck to ground, please. Parking brakes release.
Roger, stand by. Ground to flight deck. Cleared for engine start in sequence.
Clear for engine start in sequence. Starting engine 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the screen for an important safety demonstration. Thank you for flying with us.
Hân hạnh chào đón quý khách trên chuyến bay của Bamboo Airways, hãng hàng không của sự hiếu khách.
Welcome aboard Bamboo Airways, the airline of hospitality.
Kính thưa quý khách, vì an toàn của chuyến bay, kính mời quý khách theo dõi hướng dẫn về an toàn trên máy bay.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the safety of the flight, may we have your attention for the safety demonstration.
Khi đã lên máy bay, đề nghị quý khách không hút thuốc dưới mọi hình thức.
Once on board, any type of smoking is strictly prohibited.
Các thiết bị điện tử phải được tắt nguồn hoặc chuyển sang chế độ máy bay trong suốt hành trình bay.
Electronic devices must be turned off or switched to flight mode during the flight.
Quý khách lưu ý, không sạc pin các thiết bị điện tử trong quá trình máy bay lan cất và hạ cánh.
Charging electronic devices is not allowed during taxi, takeoff and landing.
Trong quá trình máy bay lan cất và hạ cánh, quý khách cài dây an toàn, dựng thẳng lưng ghế, đóng bàn ăn, xếp gọn chân ghế và màn hình.
During taxi, takeoff and landing, you are requested to fasten your seatbelt, set seat back upright, secure tray table, footrest, and monitor.
Quý khách đặt hành lý trong ngăn đựng phía trên hoặc xếp gọn dưới ghế phía trước.
Carry-on luggage is requested to stow under the seat in front of you or in the overhead lockers.
Không để hành lý trên lối đi,
flight
khu
deck.
vực cửa thoát hiểm.
Pushback complete. Please ensure parking brakes are set. Standing by for confirmation of good engine start and report when ready for disconnect.
And behind your leg must be clear of any luggage.
Quý khách cài dây an toàn trong suốt thời gian bay
Flight deck to ground, parking brake set, we are good engine start. Please disconnect the tug.
Có thêm một đầu dây móc, quý khách bắt chéo dây ngang người, cài đầu móc vào khóa, kéo một đầu dây để siết chặt và mở bằng cách nhấc hoặc bấm đầu khóa. Nếu quý khách đi cùng trẻ em hoặc cần dây an toàn kéo dài, vui lòng liên hệ với tiếp viên hàng không để được trợ giúp. Quý khách vui lòng cài dây an toàn và để dây trong tầm nhìn để tiếp viên hàng không kiểm tra an toàn quan khách.
Distribution of infant seatbelt or extension belt will be provided by cabin crew. Please make sure your seatbelt is fastened and visible to the cabin crew. Whenever seatbelt sign is on, please fasten
Ground
your
to flight
seatbelt
deck. Bypass
and
pin
keep
removed.
removing
We've disconnected and crew is clear. You're good to go. Have a great flight and see you next time.
For additional shoulder belt, cross the belt in front of your body, then hook the metal buckle into the lock. Tighten by pulling the strap and unfasten by lifting the buckle or pressing on the lock.
Trường hợp mất áp suất, mặt nạ dưỡng khí sẽ rơi xuống từ phía trên ghế ngồi và trong phòng vệ sinh. Quý khách kéo mạnh mặt nạ để có dưỡng khí, đeo mặt nạ lên mũi và miệng, choàng dây qua đầu, siết chặt.
In case of decompression, oxygen mask will be released from the cabin ceiling and in the lavatory. Pull the nearest mask firmly downward to start the flow of oxygen. Place it over your nose and mouth. Wear the plastic band over your head, then tighten it.
Quý khách hãy đeo mặt nạ cho mình trước, rồi giúp trẻ em và các hành khách khác ngồi cùng cần giúp đỡ.
Please put on your own mask first, then help the children and anyone nearby who may need assistance.
Trong trường hợp thoát hiểm, hệ thống đèn chỉ lối thoát hiểm sẽ dẫn biết
Bamboo 148 ready to taxi to runway 25 left.
will guide you to emergency exits.
Trong khoang khách có 8 cửa thoát hiểm, 2 cửa phía trước, 4 cửa ở giữa và 2 cửa phía sau. Quý khách lưu ý xác định cửa thoát hiểm gần nhất và các biển báo chỉ dẫn.
In the cabin there are 8 exits, 2 at the front, 4 at the
Bamboo
middle, and
186
2
ready
at the
to
rear.
taxi.
Please identify your nearest emergency exits with marked signs.
Áo phao được đặt dưới ghế ngồi của quý khách hoặc phía dưới bên cạnh ghế. Khi được yêu cầu sử dụng, quý khách lấy áo ra khỏi vị
Bamboo
trí.
148
Xé vỏ
ready
bọc
to
hoặc
taxi
loạt
to
qua đầu và
runway
thắt chặt dây
25
quanh eo.
left.
Quý khách lưu ý không được làm phồng áo khi ở trong khoang khách.
Life vests are located under your seat or below, next to your seat. When instructed by cabin crews, remove it from its location and package. Put on the life vest and secure it carefully. Do not inflate the life vest in the
Taxi to
cabin.
runway 25 left via Sierra 5 Sierra Yankee Victor 001
At exit, pull the tag firmly downwards or blow into mouthpieces to inflate it.
Trên áo phao có còi và đèn để lôi cuốn sự chú ý.
There are a whistle and a light on your vest for attracting attention.
Quý khách lưu ý chỉ sử dụng áo phao trong trường hợp khẩn cấp hoặc khi tiếp viên hàng không yêu cầu. Áo phao trẻ em sẽ được cung cấp và hướng dẫn sử dụng bởi tiếp viên hàng không.
Life vests are used in case of emergency or when instructed by cabin crew only. Infant life vest will be provided and instructed by cabin crews.
Và bây giờ, quý khách đọc bản hướng dẫn an toàn được đặt trong túi ghế phía trước hoặc ngăn bên cạnh.
And now, please read the safety briefing card in the seat pocket in front of you or next to your seat.
Trân trọng cảm ơn sự theo dõi của quý khách. Chúng tôi rất mong quý khách sẽ có trải nghiệm an toàn và thú vị trên các chuyến bay của Bamboo Airways.
We thank you for your attention, and we hope you have a great time on board with Bamboo Airways.
Taxi checklist, flight control check, flight setting config, 3 radar and predictive entry on a narrow edge. Misalnya mau camera mau check up no taxi checklist complete.
Please note, the cabin lights will be dimmed for departure and landing. If you require additional lighting, there is a leading light on the panel above you.
Ground, Vietnam, Airlines 261, taxi to the gate.
cabin is now secure for takeoff.
Bamboo 148, holding short runway 25 left, ready for departure.
Bamboo 148, Tanson Nhat Tower, runway 25 left, hold short of the runway A3, 24 mile final.
Hold short runway 25 left, Bamboo 148.
Over departure, 78 Bravo. Bamboo 148, runway 25 left, hold short of the runway A3, 23 mile final.
Holding short runway 25 left, Bamboo 148.
Singapore 186, welcome to Tanson Nhat. Contact ground on 121.6.
116, Singapore 186.
Scooter 306, welcome to Tanson Nhat. Contact ground on 121.9er.
121.9, Scooter 306.
Vietnam Airlines 403, welcome to Tanson Nhat. Contact ground on 121.6.
Ground 121.6, Vietnam Airlines 403.
Bamboo 148, runway 25 left, winds calm, cleared for takeoff.
Winds calm, clear for takeoff, runway 25 left, Bamboo 148. Cabin crew, please check seats for departure.
Cafe 767.
Lab checklist, takeoff runway 25 left, confirm TCAS.
Okay, Captain. Cabin crew is playing taxi for departure. Cabin crew, take seats for departure.
767, Tanson Nhat Tower, turn right, heading 005. Cathay 767, welcome to Tanson Nhat. Contact ground on 121.9er.
121.9er. Cafe 767, good day.
Vietjet 1131, contact ground on 121.6.
Switching to ground, VJ 1131. Cathay 766, contact departure.
Departure, Cafe 766.
Stabilize. Check up. Main flight 67 set, ARS runway, Oracle
5, contact departure.
Contact departure, Vision 825.
Bamboo 148, contact departure.
Contact departure, Bamboo 148. Given a departure, Bamboo 148 will be passing 1300, climbing to 4,000 feet.
Bamboo 148, Tanson Nhat departure, radar contact, climb via the SID.
Climb via the SID, Bamboo 148.
Disregard, sorry.
November 6518, Yankee, say requested altitude for descent.
Disregard, by mistake. I didn't mean to say the descent.
Transworld 362, climb flight level 280.
Climb flight level 280, Transworld 362 head.
Easy 123, contact Tanson Nhat Tower on 118.7.
Contact 118.7, easy 123.
Vietnam Airlines 471, climb and maintain flight level 140.
Vietnam Airlines 471.
Cathay 767, descend and maintain 3500.
3500. Cathay 767.
DI-1 request, disregard.
TFDI-1, climb flight level 280.
280, TFDI-1. Tanson Nhat departure. Cathay Pacific 7032, ready to copy IFR.
1 second while I grab the paperwork.
Departure Bamboo 186 2000 for 4005.
Bamboo 186, radar contact, climb and maintain 8,000.
Up to 8,000, Bamboo 186.
Gentlemen, we have now passed 10,000 feet. You may now turn on your larger portable electronic devices. There's also a reminder to please about fast logic do not congregate in the galley or near the laboratory. This aircraft is equipped with onboard Wi-Fi. If you wish to connect to the Wi-Fi, you'll be directed to a page using small fees for internet access. We do offer complimentary in-flight communication to our partners. If you connect to the Wi-Fi, you'll be able to access our wide range of free live devices. Off the fastest seatbelt sign. You cannot get up and move around the cabin. However, we ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened.
Dear guests, we have just climbed.
Climbing to flight level 280, Bamboo 148.
Use of electronic devices is now allowed. Feel free to connect to our onboard Wi-Fi service as well. We are currently flying from Ho Chi Minh to Da Nang and our estimated time en route is just over 1 hour.
TFDI 1, contact Ho Chi Minh Control on 120.1.
Bamboo Airways.
Bamboo 148, climb flight level 330.
Climbing to flight level 330, Bamboo 148.
Bamboo 148, contact Ho Chi Minh Control on 132.35.
132.35, Bamboo 148. Good evening, Control Bamboo 148 with you passing flight level 170, climbing to flight level 330.
Bamboo 148, Ho Chi Minh Control, identified Chow Boi Toi Bien Hoa QNH 1006.
QNH 1006, Bamboo 148.
Traffic. 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 Traffic.
Bamboo 148, traffic at your 12 o'clock, less than 1 mile. At flight level 330737.
Clear of conflict.
Bamboo 148, expect the Leto 2 kilo arrival. Descent in about 20 minutes.
Expecting the Lato 2K arrival. Descent in about 20 minutes. Bamboo 148.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our cruising altitude, and I am delighted to announce that we will now begin our snack and drink service. Today we have some delightful options for you, including our savory spring rolls and refreshing tropical fruit cups. After our service, we will also be offering articles from the Bamboo Airways shop for your enjoyment. Thank you for flying with us on Bamboo Airways Flight 148 as we journey from the vibrant Ho Chi Minh to the beautiful Da Nang. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
initial contact you have information Romeo. Da Nang International Airport, information Romeo. 1430 Zulu. Wind 140 at 3. Visibility 6. Sky conditions, broken at 1400 feet. Temperature 29er. Dew point 26. QNH 1007. 30 Zulu.
Bamboo 148, descend via Lato 2 kilo into Da Nang.
Descend via Lato 2 kilo into Da Nang, Bamboo 148.
passengers itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now left our cruising altitude and are beginning our approach to Da Nang. I kindly ask everyone to return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts, as the usage of the lavatories is no longer permitted at this time. Thank you for your cooperation as we prepare for landing.
148, contact Da Nang approach on 120.45.
120.45, Bamboo 148. Bamboo 148 with information, Romeo descend to 5,000 feet.
Bamboo 148, Da Nang approach identified. Good evening. Expect the ILS runway 35 right approach into Da Nang.
Expect the ILS approach runway 35 right into Da Nang, Bamboo 148.
Climb flight level 350, pacer 9 kilo. Departure good day, passing 1,800, climb to 4,000, pacer 9 kilo.
Bamboo 148, descend altitude 6,000, QNH 1007.
Descending to 6,000 feet, QNH 1007, Bamboo 148.
Red Cap 7, Papa Foxtrot, climb flight level 330.
Climbing flight level 330, Red Cap 7, Papa Foxtrot.
Red Cap 7, Papa Foxtrot, climb flight level 370.
Red Cap 7, Papa Foxtrot, we have engine failure and we level off at flight level 204 and resolve the problem. Call you back.
Peter 901 Kilo, contact Ho Chi Minh Control on 134.05.
Contact Ho Chi Minh Control 134.05, Peter 901 Kilo, bye-bye.
Peter 901 Kilo, climb flight level 300.
Climb flight level 300, Peter 901 Kilo. Climb flight level 340, Peter 901 Kilo.
You betcha, maintaining 9,000, Transworld 178. Unable, Transworld 178. Almost. You're almost ready to give me that instruction. Once we're clear of the mountains, I will let you know that we're clear for that descent, Transworld 178 Heavy. Alright, we are clear of terrain, descending to 4,000, Transworld 178 Heavy. Descending 4,000 feet, Transworld 178 Heavy.
All Wi-Fi related tasks and show any larger electronics.
Captain, cabin is ready. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our final approach into the beautiful city of Da Nang, I kindly ask you to turn off your electronic devices and stow them away until we have arrived at the gate. Please ensure your tray tables are put away. Your seats are in their full upright position, and your seat belts are fastened. Our lovely Bamboo Airways staff on the ground will provide you with
Bamboo 148, descend altitude 5,000.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Descending to 5,000 feet, Bamboo 148. Approach checklist, barrel ramp 1007 set, seatbelts on, medium room.
Hi, Captain. The cabin is now
set,
secure for
off,
landing.
engine was 11 more, approach checklist complete.
Bamboo 148, proceed direct fire. Descend altitude 2600 until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 35 right approach.
Proceed direct, Foxtrot India Romeo Alpha India descend to 2600 until established on the localizer. Clear for the ILS approach runway 35 right, Bamboo 148.
Bamboo 148, proceed direct fire. Descend 2600 until established on the localizer for the ILS approach runway 35 right.
Proceed direct fire right. Descend 2600 until established on the localizer. Clear for the ILS approach runway 35 right, Bamboo 148.
Da Nang approach. Bamboo 186, flight level 140.
Bamboo 186, radar contact. Bamboo 148, contact Da Nang Tower on 118.35.
118.35, Bamboo 148. Bamboo 148 on final runway 35 right.
Bamboo 148 Da Nang Tower, negative. You're on final for runway 35 right, winds 140 at 3. Runway 35 right, clear to land.
Clear to land runway 35 right, Bamboo 148.
2,500.
Pater 9 1 kilo, contact departure.
Contact departure 120.45, Pater 9 1 kilo. Bye bye. Contact departure 120.45, Pater 9 1 kilo. Bye bye.
Air America 502, welcome to Da Nang. Contact ground on 121.6.
Ground 121.6, Air America 502, thank you.
Landing checklist, KMM already know below landing checklist.
1,000.
Check.
above. Minimum.
Continue.
Flight slow. Flight slow. Flight slow.
40.
Too low.
30,
Terrain.
20. Retard. Retard. Drive.
Spoiler, reverse rate descent. Manual brackets.
Bamboo 148, welcome to Da Nang. Contact ground on 121.6.
121.6, Bamboo 148.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. The local
Vietnam
Clear to land.
Runway
140 Vietnam Airlines 19 right,
clear to
clear.
land.
9 degrees.
Bamboo 148, roger. Contact ground on 121.6.
We just had Welcome to Da Nang.
121.6, Bamboo 148.
Remember to use caution when opening
The weather here is a warm 29 degrees Celsius with a gentle breeze from the southeast. So if you fancy a stroll along the coast, you're in for a treat. Thank you for flying with Bamboo Airways.
Bamboo 148, we are is clear of runway 35 right, ready to taxi to parking.
Antran, and the entire crew, including Lin, Min, and Hoa, we bid you farewell and hope to see you again soon. Captain, cabin is ready.
Bamboo 148, Da Nang ground. Taxi to domestic terminal 22 via Echo 4. Echo. Good day.
I kindly ask.
Taxi to domestic terminal 22 via Echo 4 Echo. Good day, Bamboo 148.
Your seats are in their full upright position.
Da Nang ground,
and your
Transworld
seatbelts are
362
fastened.
at
Our
stand
lovely Bamboo
10,
Airways
requesting
staff on the
pushback and
ground
engine
will
start.
provide you with information regarding your connection flights. Thank you for your cooperation.
Da Nang ground, Transworld 362, type 747 at gate 10, ready to copy IFR to Tan Sonat.
And Dunnan Tower, Kaija 3312 is ready to copy IFR to Don Muang. Clear to Don Muang via the Paper 2 Alpha departure, then is filed, departure runway 17 left. Initial climb 4,000, departure on 120 to 45, squawk 4634, Kaija 3312.
Give me 1 second for that clearance. Air America 133, contact tower on 118.35.
Roger, over to tower 118.35, Air America 133, good day.
Red Cat 7 Papa Foxtrot, good day. We are on stand 3-4 with information Quebec requests IFR clearance to Victor Victor Charlie India.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
Clear to Victor Victor Charlie India via the full 1 Golf departure, then is 5 departure on runway 35 right. Initial climb to 3,000 feet, departure on 120.45, squawk 5725. Red Cat 7 Papa Foxtrot.
I am working on that clearance. Stand by.
Clear to Bayonne via Bund to Alpha departure, then asphalt, departure runway 17 left, initial climb 4,000, departure 120.45, squawk 5234, Peter 9er 1 kilo.
Peter 9er 1 kilo, read back correct.
Request pushback and start, Peter 9er 1 kilo.
Peter 9er 1 kilo, pushback and start approved, face north.
Pushback and start approved, face north, Peter 9er 1 kilo.